Welcome to Timeless Chronicles. Explore history, mysteries, and fascinating stories from 15 facts we just learned about Native American history. Subscribe now for captivating content that takes you beyond time. Timeless Chronicles, history, mysteries. Enjoy this video. The Navajo have a tradition around celebrating a baby's first laugh. Just like any other cultural group, Native communities have different celebrations to mark various stages in a person's life. The Navajo, who live in the southwestern United States and call themselves Diné, have arguably the most unique, joyous ceremony, a celebration for a baby's first laugh. The Oneida consider themselves to be America's first allies. When the Revolutionary War broke out, Native Americans found themselves drawn into the conflict. Many nations sided with the British, figuring the British may have been a better ally in the long run than the unproven Americans. Among the 6 nations of the Haudenosaunee, Iroquois Confederacy, for example, all but 2 sided with the British. The Washoe tribe approached the Donner Party to offer them food. In 1846, settlers from Illinois began their trek westward. The so-called Donner Party, named after Jacob and George Donner, who directed the group, suffered a series of setbacks in their journey that culminated in a snowstorm. Bogged down in the snow, the scene turned horrific when the group of stranded settlers supposedly resorted to cannibalism. Ancient Mayan temples produce echoes that sound like a bird's chirp. The Maya of Central America had a sophisticated culture. Among their achievements were complex feats of engineering. They designed and constructed pyramids and temples that remain marvels even in the 21st century. The indigenous people, who first met the Pilgrims at Plymouth Colony, greeted them in English. The initial meeting between the Pilgrims and the Wampanoags at Plymouth Colony may have been an episode of first contact, but only for the Pilgrims. The Cherokee had extremely high literacy rates in the 19th century. In 1821, Sequoyah, a member of the Cherokee Nation in the American Southeast, debuted a written system for the Cherokee language. He had spent several years working on it, believing the Cherokee deserved a written language, just as English speakers did. The Native American population in California decreased by 77% during the California Gold Rush between 1840 and 1855. The discovery of gold in California ignited a tsunami of gold seekers to the western coast of North America, eager to try their luck and strike it rich. The prospectors descending on California weren't flooding into empty, uninhabited land. California natives had lived there for centuries, even as Spanish colonization had steadily decreased their population. Incans successfully performed complicated head surgeries centuries before Europeans and Americans. Advancements in medical technology mean that surgeons have a lot of tools at their disposal to patch up their patients, specially engineered scalpels, antiseptics, and cameras to assist in surgery, just to name a few. People escaping slavery found safety near Seminole communities in Florida. Native American history is entwined with the history of slavery in America. After all, Europeans, early colonists, and Americans enslaved Native Americans, and some Native Americans embraced race-based chattel slavery by buying enslaved Africans. The Cherokee, in particular, became slave owners. At the time of their removal in the 1830s, the Cherokee owned an estimated 1,600 enslaved workers. Indeed, they even brought their enslaved workers with them to Oklahoma via the Trail of Tears. Lacrosse is North America's oldest still-played sport. The Haudenosaunee, aka Iroquois Confederacy, comprises 6 member nations: the Mohawk, Seneca, Onondaga, Oneida, Cayuga, and Tuscarora. Part of their shared cultural legacy is the sport we know as lacrosse. They invented it. Sacagawea was still a teenager when she guided Lewis and Clark and had been forced to marry. It's an image that most Americans encounter sometime in elementary school. Sacagawea, complete with braided hair and her baby strapped to her back, points the way for Meriwether Lewis and William Clark as they navigate the Louisiana Purchase and travel to the Pacific Ocean. Native Americans used controlled fires to manage land growth. For centuries, Europeans and Americans repeated the myth that Native Americans were solely hunter-gatherers who didn't know how to make the most of the land. White settlers, then, had every right to take over large parcels of land. It would have gone to waste otherwise, or so the claim goes. The near extinction of the American bison was planned to starve Native Americans into submission. For Native Americans in the Great Plains, bison played a significant role in their diet and material life. The meat of the animals was an important food source, while their hide could be used for housing and clothing.